Be patient and never settle for less. This is what Gabriel Pardo's advice for all young dreamers to keep a high-quality work. Welcome, Gabriel, to the show called Self-Made.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
We're excited to hear your story. Can we start with your childhood?
Yes, I was born and raised in Mexico, in a small town in the peninsula of Baja. And I lived there until I moved to college. I have a brother and two sisters. And I always dreamed of becoming a marine biologist. But after I had my first computer, I fell in love with IT, engineering, and that's finally what I pursued.
So did you follow all the advice of your parents?
No, I did not. And I was a little bit of a rebel.
Okay, now coming out.
Yeah, I was a little bit of a rebel, and so that was, probably not a component, natural part of being a kid, being a teenager, right? And I've experienced it myself with my own kids.
Yeah.
But my parents did such a wonderful job on what they did, that it's a matter of maturity and coming to realize that you have to raise up to the challenge, and you have to stick, and you end up following the example.
Yeah.
Right?
So how are you able to manage that from like okay student to an extraordinary student?
I think it was a matter of focus, right? In order to be a good person, you can't just focus on your IQ, right? I realized that sometimes that my emotions got the better of myself, and so when you get all flustered and fluttered and excited and angry or depressed or unhappy, it affects your ability to absorb, to learn, your ability to be aware of the outside world. So number one thing is to be able to focus. So I found my favorite sport in childhood was swimming. And I find swimming still today extremely meditative, right? You can't listen to music, you cannot talk to people, you cannot be sightseeing, you have to focus on your laps. And so during my 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, I would just do laps and empty my mind and sort of meditate and sort of relax and calm down. And from being a little bit of on a hyperactive side, that took a little bit of that edge of the energy off and allowed me to focus a little bit better.
Now, what made you come to Philippines?
There was this opportunity to make some significant changes or take start the next chapter in the life of Global Services Manila for Baker McKenzie. I was entrusted by my boss to take on that opportunity, despite the fact that maybe I wasn't exactly 100% qualified. But he trusted me, he gave me the confidence, he empowered me, gave me the ability to make decisions, and had a number of people here who were very patient with me as I made some mistakes and I scored some wins.
What do you love most about Filipinos?
It's hard to put my finger on one single thing, but their ability to be happy, right? The ability to find happiness despite challenging circumstances, and that's because they do have a passion for what they do. They have a very strong work ethic, and there's a tremendous amount of commitment. Once you find a balance and you start to respect people for what they do and what they can bring to the table, and you empower them, Filipinos become an unstoppable force that can bring and transform, bring a lot of value and transform the results for any organization.
What should Filipinos improve?
The ability to say no. Sometimes you have to be selective, and despite the fact that you're working with your stakeholders or with your clients, there may be requests that are not achievable within a certain deadline or certain due date, or something that just doesn't make any sense to do because of whatever number of reasons. So gently but surely push back and say, I think there's a better way to do this. I don't believe this is a good idea, right? Not just for the sake of pushing back, but because there's a good reason behind it.
Openness. Huh?
That's right.
What's your next legacy, personal legacy?
Development of a workplace where people are core and center, right? And living the culture of as such. Not just a series of programs to improve productivity and quality and customer satisfaction, but a culture in which the very fabric of the organization is all about the empowerment, the development of people.
So what's your best advice then for anybody listening to you to achieve that?
To, introspect, to look into their soul. Why are they here in this world, right? What, is it really to make a profit for, a number of stakeholders or shareholders? Is it really to, to grow and climb the organizational ladder, the corporate ladder? Or is it to, improve civilization, improve the conditions of human life, improve the value of humankind, right? I'm not saying that everybody should be one way or another, but people need to reflect and find the true, meaning of their true driver deep in their hearts.
As an individual, what would be our best contribution to help to make the country first world?
I go back to exactly the same point. Hold each other accountable, right? Do not settle. If you receive something that's not acceptable from a vendor, from a provider, from a peer, from your boss, say, this is just not good enough. You gotta do better. Does not meet my expectations, and it's not going to meet the expectations of somebody who's gonna consume our product or our services. And we're going to stagnate, and they're going to go for the next best option.
And last question, what's your best message to Filipinos?
Keep on learning. Push through. Don't give up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Every success has its struggles. Every dream has its trials and tests. Listen to their stories, because if they did it, you can also be called self-made.